Welcome, everyone. I'm Heather Harris, your host for today's session. I'm part of the Learning and Development team here at MAS National, working as the Careers and Mentoring Growth Officer. Today's webinar is all about practical, real-world money tips from our Careers and Mentoring specialist. Those small things that can make a really big difference, especially as we head into the holiday season, but really for every day. Before we get started, just a bit of a quick housekeeping. Today's session will run for about 30 minutes. Before we kick off, I'd also like to take a moment for our acknowledgement to country. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and recognise connections to lands, waters and communities. We pay our respects to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and cultures, and we extend our respect to the elders past and present. So let's take a quick look at what's in store for the next half an hour. I'm joined today by three of our amazing MAS Careers and Mentoring specialists, Crystal, Catherine and Georgie, who work every day supporting apprentices and trainees across Australia. They'll be sharing their favourite real-world tips and money hacks to help your money go further, especially as we head into the holiday season. So we'll be covering discover your money persona, what drives your spending habits, see how small changes can make a big difference. Then we're going to unpack how to turn real rewards into savings. And I'm going to send you a Careers and Mentors Specialist resource that's going to be packed full of favourite tips and hacks and ideas that you can use straight away. So just before we dive in and before we get to our first topic, we all think about money a little bit differently, and that's okay. And our mindset does play a big part on how we manage it. The holiday season can be one of the most expensive times of the year, between food and fuel, gifts, catching up with mates and everything in between. And the little things can really add up. So I just want you to have a think about, what things you spend most on during the holiday season. So is it gifts? Is it food? Is it fuel? What are the things? And it is a good reminder that we all face the same pressures, and that's why we're here today, just to share a few ideas on how we make that money count. So it's clear really that we all do feel those same spending pressures at this time of the year. That's what makes this first topic a really good starting point. Before we can manage our money, it helps us to understand how we think about it. We all have different spending habits and motivation, and that's what Georgie is going to explore next as she takes us through our money persona. Over to you, Georgie.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for the introduction, Heather. Also, thank you for all the fantastic contributions on the chat. I'm sure we're seeing a lot of universality there and a lot of commonality there in what we end up spending our money on over Christmas. So I'm here today to talk to you about money personas. And I thought I'd start by sharing a story about myself and my history. As I was thinking about what story to share, I realized that I've spun through so many of these money personas myself. But the big one that came to mind is actually the spender, which is the next one we'll have coming up. When I was younger, I was obsessed with luxury fabrics and garments made in Australia, European fabric, Japanese linen, loved it all. And I spent most of my income on clothes. So I was definitely huge in the spender category. And then later on in my life, I actually became a bit more of an avoider. And that sort of went back to the way I was raised. Any outward signs of wealth were seen as being kind of indecent, something to be avoided, maybe a bit of that Australian tall poppies coming into it as well. And so this is something really interesting to me about money. It's often where some of our history, our beliefs, all of it like comes together in the way that we relate to money. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through some of the spending personas, the money personas. So the first one we got up on the screen here is the saver. So the saver is definitely focused on the future and very cautious about spending. And I've got some pop culture references in here as well, so it can hit home for people. Definitely Hermione and Lisa, people that think ahead to the future, not just in the present moment. Next one is the spender. So this is like Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City or Moira Rose from Schitt's Creek. Two extremely fashionable characters, can I point out? So I definitely relate to them as a spender in my own personal history. Loves buying things, impulse spending, and also really generous and shares a lot of what they have with others. Then we have the investor. The investor is very future focused, often quite ambitious as well. So some examples are Tony Stark and Miranda from The Devil Wears Prada. Next, we have the gambler. Typical apps you might see on this person's phones, like Sportsbet, and probably some investing apps as well. High risk, high reward, possibly volatile finances, maybe some riskier financial investments, but kind of enjoying that thrill of things. So we've got Han Solo and Jack Sparrow here as our celebrity examples. Let's go for the next one, Heather. Next one is the warrior, warrior, the one who worries. Overthinking things, really careful and prudent. And even when they have a plan, they're still worried about the plan. So we've got Chidi from The Good Place and Monica from Friends as our examples there. Let's go for the next one, Heather. Thank you. Next one is the avoider, which I've definitely been before. You ignore finances. You just get the feeling that you're missing out on something big, but maybe you can't quite bring yourself to focus on it. I was reluctant to even think about my pay or look at it, look at my bank balance, just didn't want to face it. So I really relate to Ted Lasso. So he's like my celebrity spirit animal. And our final one is the spender splurger. So swings between savings and spendings and struggles to find a balance between the two, like Lorelai from Gilmore Girls and Donna from Parks and Rec. We got a shout out there for Ted Lasso. Thank you to the audience there. A good heart, but maybe not the best with money.
Oh, there's lots of favourites in there.
What's that? Sorry.
There was lots of favourites in there.
Oh, great. And I'm kind of interested as we talk through that list, which persona did you most relate to? Just drop it in the chat. I'd love to hear from you. And by the way, this is not about comparison. There's not really any judgment in it. It's just a way of sort of building your awareness around finances and the way you think about money. Yeah, so we got a great contribution here from one of our audience members. It's through in your life, you go through different parts of the cycle. You go through different personas, and that's all good. This is just about understanding where you're at the moment, and if there might be like a bit of space to wiggle or try and do something a little bit different, because all of it will increase your ability to be flexible and to sort of like move with wherever you're at. So just a couple of suggestions I'm putting out there. Grab whichever one you most related to. With the saver, my suggestion is allocating some money for fun so you can enjoy life without guilt. So that might take the form of giving yourself $50 a week to splash around completely guilt-free while you still do all of your saving activities on the side. For the spender, waiting about 48 hours before making big purchases. So just hitting that pause button, maybe popping it in the shopping trolley online, and then walking away. For the investor, diversifying your investments, and if you're into ETFs or index funds, you already got a natural component of diversification there, and setting boundaries on work time. For the gambler, maybe try minimizing risky investments and keeping that solid safety net. So maybe a certain percentage of your income that you just won't touch. For the warrior, building confidence by starting small with safe investments. So just before we had people come on the call, we were talking about micro investments. There are several apps there you could ask around with your friends, see what they're keen on, and see what works for them. Next is the avoider. Just even looking at your bank account might be a really big step for you. And automating your savings. So just setting it up to automatically take $50, $20, $100, whatever you can afford a week out and popping it in a savings account. Then for the spender splurger, allocating some money for fun and automating your savings, just so you kind of got the best of the spender and the sort of the splurger things to do there. Thank you for the love coming through for these suggestions here. When I think about my transition from one to the other, when I was a spender, I was just noticing that my bank account was going down. I also made some impulse buys that I really didn't like. I was trying to find a picture of this ridiculous neon orange tulle dress that I bought on impulse one time and wore once. I couldn't find it, but definitely the 48-hour rule helped me out. And then when I was an avoider, what sort of helped me find a little bit of wriggle room to try something different there was a coworker just told me about micro investing, suggested an app, and I went from there. Really low risk and an opportunity to just give something a try and learn something new. So once again, no judgment. It's just about knowing yourself a little bit better and where there might be that opportunity to tweak, enhance, find a bit of space to do something a little bit different, something you wouldn't normally do. So that's your money persona. Heather, I'll toss it back to you.
Thanks so much, Georgie. That's such a good reminder that the way we think about money really shapes what we do with it. Really, really insightful. Now that we've looked at our money mindset and the persona, let's move into the practical side, the little things that make a big difference. We often focus on big expenses and what's coming up, but it's those small everyday habits that can quietly eat away at our budget or help us save without even realizing it. To share more, I will hand it over to Crystal, who is going to walk us through some simple ways to make those small changes really count. Over to you, Crystal.
Thanks, Heather. That was so interesting, Georgie. I can definitely relate to all of those personas at different stages of my life, and, trying to balance, and the tips were great. Thank you. So the topic today that I'm going to talk about is from small things, big things grow. So we're thinking long term here. When we're working so hard, it's a very helpful tip to pay ourselves first. And that could look different for everyone, whether you choose a dollar amount or a percentage of your wage. My parents always told me since a teenager, save 10% of your wage and, you try your best. Life does happen, but those small amounts make a massive difference. I've got an example coming up, but I'm just going to talk about a few practical tips to make that accessible. So I recommend some suggestions are to have a separate account, so something not easy to access. So whether it be you have to actually go into a bank to physically withdraw the cash to access it, remove it from Apple Pay so it's not just easy to tap. or maybe it's even that you need someone else's signature to actually withdraw the cash. So if you're putting away little amounts, it's consistency and time. It's very important to have an emergency fund. So I recommend to name the account. So when you have your separate account to a high interest savings account, preferably if you can do that, something maybe even with a different bank so you can't access it easily, and put those and automate that amount, whatever you choose, weekly, fortnightly, monthly. And if you stay consistent with that time after time and try not to touch it, then there's a beautiful thing that Albert Einstein has named the eighth wonder of the world, called compound interest. The explanation for that is, if you picture a snowball and it's the size of a golf ball, the interest will, so if you put in an amount for the year, it calculates a little bit of interest, and you can imagine that snowball rolling down the hill and collecting interest year after year. So for example, if you saved $1,000 in a year, the next year you would, on a 10% return, you would get $1,100. And so you get the interest on that, and it compounds into a massive snowball, which is the beautiful compounding interest. Can we just click to the side so we can have a visual, please, Heather? So this is a conservative example that I've done for $25 a week over 10 years in a high interest savings account. So it's a 4% interest rate. That little green bit on the top of the graph is the interest that you're collecting. So after 10 years, you would have a total of $15,989. After 40 years, you would have $128,473. So you can see that green just escalate, because superannuation is going to be one of your biggest assets that you will contribute, and it has the return rate of approximately 10%, with ebbs and flows, of course, over the years. But the compound interest works amazing for that. Can we just flip back to the slide? Sorry. Thank you. Excellent. Compounding also does work the opposite way. So if you have loans with a very high interest rate, we want to kind of reverse that snowball. So if we have the big snowball, we want to chip away at that as much as possible, putting in as much as you can, or that little bit amount that you can to reduce that interest, so then you can get onto your savings in your emergency fund. And when you make that account, I suggest naming it something fun. So if you've got a long-term financial goal, so a holiday or buying a home, name it that, so it brings you joy, and you want to put that away for your future. Also, but just paying even $10 off a week extra on your loans, it can save thousands and thousands in interest, and also years off a loan. And just a reminder for the ATO receipts, so the Australian Tax Office. So we all have to pay tax at the end of the financial year in June. So just a tip, if you can get an email folder or a physical folder in your car, and refer to the ATO website, but if you look up your occupation, it'll have everything that you can claim at tax time. So even those small receipts of $20, $40, if it's related to your work and your income, save it all in a folder. So then when it comes time to June, all those little bits will add up, and it's essentially a saving strategy as well as saving to do your income, for your livelihood. Sorry, I got a bit muddled up there. I hope those tips help. And yeah, definitely look, play on the calculator that we're going to send you out with the resources. There's lots of different strategies and interests that you can play around with there. What's something small you spend regularly that adds up over time? Also, another tip is the streaming devices as well. Have a little audit of them. Coffee, yes. We don't want to go without either, though, do we? So we've got to spread our money personas and kind of take a little bit and adjust and learn where we feel we might need. How would you suggest apprentices access that? Great question. Thanks, Georgie. The compound interest. So we're going to send out a resource. There's a few calculators online that you can have a little play around with. But I do have one more example here. So if you invested $10 a day, after 10 years, you would have $58,861. 20 years would be $203,149, and 30 years would be $556,851. So that's when you're looking at, your super. But yeah, we have calculators and resources, so definitely play around with that because compound interest is amazing.
Thanks, Crystal. That was full of practical ideas, and I do know that one thing that my dad taught me many years ago as well when I first started out working was, it was one of the first tips that you gave as well, was pay yourself first, and I've never forgotten it, and I still do it to this day. So great tip, and it definitely does work. And speaking of making your money work harder, let's talk about something many of us use every week: rewards points and everyday spending. So Catherine is going to share how to make those little perks really count. So over to you, Catherine. You're on mute, Catherine.
Turn it off because the dog was barking. Of course, I forget. Awesome. Hi, everyone. Thank you again for those tips, Crystal. They are honestly so simple and easy to implement. And as you can see, they really do work long term. As you can all see this afternoon, I'm going to be talking about my favorite thing ever, rewards points, and how you can make them work for you. As you may already know and can also see on the screen right now, there are so many rewards point systems out there now. Everyday rewards, which is my personal favorite, as you'll soon see. Flybys, Maya One, Qantas Frequent Flyer, Priceline, Sister Club, Cotton On Perks are just to name a few. I myself use everyday rewards very frequently, and so far this year I have saved just over $700 just using everyday rewards. On the next slide, I will actually show you guys how I do this, but another example with Flybys, I've saved a little less as I shop there less frequently, but I've already saved $70 in rewards points this year. Stacking your benefits. So there's a few ways you can do this nowadays, and one of those is by linking your apps. So for example, if you already have a OnePass subscription, which I think is like $4 a month or something like that, linking this to your Flybys actually gets you a ton of extra rewards, including double points, free click and collect, and things like that. You can also boost your points on most platforms, shop using the store offers that give you more points, or even use cashback apps like Shopback. So you may ask, like me not so long ago, what is Shopback? Shopback is actually a cashback platform where they essentially, you shop on the website with Woolworths, Booking.com, Bonds, and you get cashback on your purchase. The cashback will be a percentage of your purchase made through the app. And an example for this, last night I actually booked a hire car for an upcoming holiday through Booking.com, and they had 10% cashback on all purchases. So on my $250 hire car purchase, I'm actually going to get $25 cash back from that purchase, which is pretty cool. It can go towards my holiday. It may not actually sound like a lot, but when you're using it regularly, it can add up pretty quickly. I've only been actively using that one for the last year, and so far I've got $118 in cash back. But if you are making those purchases anyway, you might as well get some cash back for it. For myself, I use Shop Back Weekly for my groceries at Woolies, so I can get the cash back, rewards points, and use my 10% voucher that I get from Woolworths Extra. Definitely an easy way to stack up these points. You can also redeem smartly. So depending on the loyalty program, there are different ways to redeem your points. I like to save my points up to Christmas time and use them to put towards Christmas gifts or food. You might also like to just use the points each week towards your grocery bill to alleviate the pressure. Whatever works for you is great. Set and forget. Most businesses will get you to sign up with your mobile number these days, so you don't need to carry around a gazillion loyalty cards in your wallet, probably like your mum used to do when you were a kid. This is also a really great way to be able to claim your points when you do shop, because you're never going to forget your card. You can also upload all your loyalty cards to your digital wallet, and that is literally pretty simple to do. You can do it in probably 10, 15 minutes most of the time. And as you'll soon see on the next slide, a few dollars every week really does add up to some really big savings. As you can see on the screen, my whopping $700 of savings in the last year. With Everyday Rewards, I currently subscribe to the Everyday Extra, which is about $7 a month, I think. And you gain some extra points. But I also subscribe to Woolies Prepaid Mobile and Everyday Pet Insurance. And because I've linked all these three and stacked them, I get 3 extra vouchers for 10% off at a Woolies shop, and also 2 times extra points on every purchase. I also regularly boost my deals, and in the last year, I've saved $700, and with 300 of those dollars actually rewards points that I put towards future shops. There is heaps of ways to make these rewards points work for you and your hard-earned money. I, like many of you, didn't get taught any of these things in school and actually had to do a lot of research and self-teaching. And as I wrap up, I just want to leave you with 3 of my favorite podcasts to listen to: She's on the Money, Scouting Australia podcast, and Money, Money, Money. While Scouting Australia is primarily to do with purchasing a property, the other 2 podcasts literally cover everything from rewards points hacking to superannuation and literally everything in between. Thank you so much for listening. And I think I have a question. What do you, or are you likely to spend rewards points on? It's great to see, Crystal. Those podcasts are really, really great. Food, yep. I get that. The food one is a big one because food shopping is quite expensive these days, especially if you've got kids.
And I'm with you, Catherine. I use Everyday Rewards, and I've saved it up all year, and I'm going to spend the whole lot at Christmas time. So I've almost don't even have to spend money at Christmas time on my grocery shop at Christmas time.
Honestly, I think to me, Everyday Rewards, you get the most back, to be honest, in my opinion. But yeah, it's honestly such a great way to alleviate those big bills, especially at the end of the year when money's probably a little bit tighter anyway.
Yeah, no, it was really, really cool. Well, thanks so much for that, Catherine.
That's okay.
It's really, really, really good reminders that rewards can really stretch your dollar, especially when you use them strategically, like you've just shown. And before we finish up today, I thought we'd share a few of our favorite seasonal top tips, those little things that help us stay on track over the holidays while still enjoying ourselves. And I thought we'd start with gifting, and I thought I would do the gifting. And it doesn't really have to be about big spending. And one of my favorite things in gifting, you've probably guessed it, is Secret Santa. And I always do this, you can do this on a massive budget, but I always like to make it really challenging and doing it on a small budget per person. And you can theme it, you can do so many things, and it is really, really, really fun. Another thing for gifting I love to do is pre-loved treasure Santa. So the gifts must come from an op shop, or Facebook Marketplace, or it has to be something upcycled. I really like this one because it's fun, it's sustainable, and you do get a lot of laughs. Um, Another one I love for gifting is the $5 challenge. So everyone has to stick to $5. You're not allowed to go 1 cent over. But the goal is to find the funniest, or it has to be the most useful thing for that price. And again, that usually gets like a lot of laughs, a lot of everyone talking over each other. It's fun, it's loud, it's hilarious. Another thing I love for gifting is the time or experience Santa. So instead of buying things, you gift an experience. So it could be a coffee date, it could be help with something. It could be a help with something voucher. It could be babysitting vouchers. It could be if you're an aunt or an uncle or a grandma. It could be a day with uncle voucher, a day with auntie voucher, and the niece or nephew get to choose whatever they like to do, and it could be a day at the beach. It could be whatever. So yeah, that's my Heather's gifting seasonal top tip. So, Crystal, what's your food seasonal top tip?
I love that, all of those. We used to do a similar one to the $5 gift. We had a huge family, so we'd buy for the children and we'd put in a massive Santa sack, $2 gifts, but it was a while ago, so it's up to $5. And yeah, funny gifts, and everyone will get one. The grandparents, the kids, the adults. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
So food, I think budgeting obviously is, the standard one, but we've got all the points that we've added up and perhaps saved for Christmas so we can go all out on our favorite things because we've got to live a little and enjoy. Outsourcing, so doing like a potluck. So whenever you're doing events, everyone brings a plate. Doesn't have to be organized. It can be organized if you like to be like that. Just everyone brings a plate and you just enjoy each other's company. There's lots of recipes out there as well in our resource book that we're going to send out. There's some recipes and things like that in there. And just enjoy the time together around food and laughter and live life.
Awesome. I love that too. I love the potluck one. I love that. That's fun. Kat, you've got shopping.
Mute again. So yes, my top seasonal tip for shopping is I actually like to do most of my Christmas shopping during the year. So looking out for the mid-year toy sales or like Black Friday that is coming up. I like to put around like $50 a fortnight away each pay cycle, and that way I always have money in my Christmas account, so then when I do see something come up for cheap, I never have to buy full price. Also utilizing lay-by when businesses do have that, because again, you can pay off big purchase over time, but it also means I don't have to hide the presents from the little gremlins for so long. So it's good to use a few different ways so you don't have to pay full price and you can still spoil people.
Yeah, love it. Love the Black Friday sales. Georgie, saving.
Sorry, I forgot about this part in the presentation. So I'm just on like flying by the seat of my pants here, Heather. Look, someone mentioned before, I think it was Crystal, the idea of potluck. I actually had Christmas at my house a couple of years ago. I bought a big HelloFresh box with all of the Christmas meals. And I said to everyone, don't worry about food. I got it covered. And what did everyone do? Everyone who showed up brought food because they want to. So if you're hosting anything at your house, please make the people work. give them some, like, what's a dish they make that you really love? Let them know that you love it and ask them to bring them along, because they'll probably bring it whether you ask for it or not. So
Love it.
Sharing the load is my suggestion.
Share the love.
Yeah, the love.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Oh, thanks. I absolutely love that. So thanks so much, everyone. That was a little bit of fun, and it's great to hear everyone's like seasonal tips, from saving and budgeting to rewards and seasonal hacks. So I'm actually curious to know, what's the one tip or strategy, like from today, that you think that you'd share with someone else after hearing it today? Might be something you'd try yourself, or a piece of advice you think you could help a mate or colleague, do you think, after hearing it today? Definitely no right or wrong answers. It's just your takeaway. So we have gone a little bit over time, but before we wrap up, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to our amazing mentors, Crystal, Catherine, and Georgie, for sharing your time, experience, and so many practical tips today. Thank you to our audience out there for joining in and contributing through the chat. It's been such a great and positive conversation. I just want to remind everyone that if today's session has you thinking about your own situation, whether that's financial, if it's workplace issues, learning and education, health and well-being, or something completely else, you can reach out for a confidential chat with one of our careers and mentoring specialists. I'll pop the link in the chat now. If you prefer, you can simply give a reaction or a thumbs up, a heart, or a smile, and one of our team will get in touch that way too. I just want to say thank you again for being part of the MasMeets. Keep an eye on your inbox for the digital resource. It will be packed with our mentors' favourite tips, hacks, and links to help make your money stretch further. Have a great evening, everyone, and make your money count. Bye for now.